Welcome back to Flavors and Knowledge, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of cooking, the science behind ingredients, and the rich stories that make food so much more than just a meal. I'm your host, Noah Mitchell, speaking from Chef Walter's Cooking School in Rhode Island, USA, bringing you narrated, factual culinary education with honest food talk and a few opinions along the way. So let's explore the diverse world of flavors together. This episode is titled, When Monks Fed Body and Soul, the story of the pretzel and its holy companions. In the quiet hills of early medieval Europe, around the year 1620, a humble monk in a secluded monastery, perhaps in the north of Italy or along the edges of France, faced the long, lean days of Lent. With eggs, milk, and fats forbidden by the strict rules of fasting, he worked with what the earth and the Rule of Saint Benedict allowed: simple flour, water, and a pinch of salt. One afternoon, watching village children struggle to memorize their prayers and catechism verses in the dim light of the chapel, an idea took shape in his mind like dough rising in the warmth. He rolled thin strips of the plain bread dough between his palms, then twisted them into loops that mimicked the posture of a child at prayer, arms crossed over the chest, hands resting gently on opposite shoulders in humble devotion. He baked them until they turned golden and crisp at the edges, creating 3 open spaces, or holes, that he quietly explained to the little ones as symbols of the Holy Trinity: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. "These are your pretiola," he told them with a gentle smile, "little rewards for your faithful hearts." The children beamed as they received the twisted treats, the shape itself a silent reminder to pray without ceasing. Word of the monk's invention spread slowly through neighboring villages and other monasteries. Soon, these braided little arms were handed out as alms to the poor, carried in baskets by traveling friars, and even sketched into the margins of illuminated manuscripts. Over centuries, the name shifted, from Latin braceli to German brezeitella, and the pretzel journeyed northward, eventually adorning bakers, guild signs, and becoming a beloved snack across the continent. Yet this was no isolated miracle of monastic ingenuity. In the stone dairies of French and Italian abbeys, other brothers tended herds of cows and sheep, turning milk into wheels of cheese that could last through winter fasts and lean seasons. Picture a Cistercian monk in the Burgundy hills of the 12th century, carefully pressing curd into molds for what would become the ancestors of Sidox, or the creamy, bloomy-rinded Brie de Meaux, practical gifts born of the same spirit of self-sufficiency that shaped the pretzel. These cheeses were not mere food but lifelines, aged in cool cellars and traded to support the community, their golden rinds carrying the quiet labor of men who rose before dawn to chant and churn. Farther north and east, in the misty valleys of Belgium, Trappist monks followed an even older tradition of brewing. Guided by centuries-old recipes, they fermented barley and hops in massive copper kettles, producing ales rich and dark or golden and crisp, beers like Westvleteren or Chimay that nourished body and soul alike. The work was meditative, stirring vats in silence, tasting for balance, bottling with care. These brews, labeled with the official Trappist seal, became more than drink. They funded orphanages, repaired cloisters, and reminded the world that even austerity could yield something profound and sustaining. And in the remote French Alps, the silent Carthusian brothers guarded an even more mysterious craft. Since the early 17th century, they had distilled a secret elixir from 130 herbs gathered under moonlight, plants whose names and proportions remained locked in ancient parchment. The resulting chartreuse liqueur, vibrant green and intensely aromatic, began as a medicinal tonic for weary travelers and the sick, its complex flavors a testament to monastic herbal wisdom passed down through generations of cloistered hands. Across these centuries and cloisters, a single thread wove through it all: the belief that humble work, done with intention and restraint, could become something greater. The pretzel rewarded a child's whispered prayer, The cheese fed the hungry through famine. The beer and liqueur eased suffering and built cathedrals of stone and spirit. What began in fasting dough and crossed arms echoed in every wheel of cheese, every foaming glass, every drop of green spirit, quiet proofs that from the simplest ingredients and the deepest devotion, monks could create gifts that outlasted empires and still warm hands and hearts today. Thanks for listening and the privilege of your time. In conclusion, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us on today's journey through flavor and discovery. You'll find all the relevant links in the show notes, including details on our cooking classes, the full notes and recipes from this episode, and our calendar for culinary tourism tour. Be sure to subscribe to our free newsletter to stay connected and informed. Remember to taste thoughtfully, cook with passion, and continue exploring the boundless world of food. Subscribe for more, share with a fellow food enthusiast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep your eyes on the fire and stay curious. The content for this episode is written by Chef Walter and produced by Simval Media, USA.